Hey there! So today I'm going to be talking about the units that are about to release in the global server of Brown Dust. But first, I want to talk about two different things. So first of all, Tachibana already did a video on these units, talking about all the little details on their skills, so I definitely recommend checking that video out because I'm not going to be going like skill by skill, so I'm going to be leaving that in the video description. And other than that, I also want to mention that the wiki already has all of these units updated, so you can check that out so you can see the skills for yourself. But okay, I'm gonna be talking about like the meta implications these units have and how they end up functioning. So first of all, Hanyu, because he's the most important unit in this patch. He is a great warrior. He's like a really solid option, though requires some investment of course. So how does he end up working? He doesn't do much damage early on, like early into the match. Because of his first kill, you want him to go first with your attackers, and usually people don't go like literally first, like first unit Hanyu. They do buff him with supports. The reason for that is because he loses stats over time of course, but still getting the support benefit is like you're losing one turn for one support, and the support you're gonna get from the support is gonna help him more than the damage he's losing. So it's usually worth it to go like support, and then Hanyu. So he gets double buff and still has like half of this buff active, which is pretty good. But even then, his only form of additional damage is this skill over here, which only works on warriors and supports, which means the usually more tanky units, which are mages and defenders, are not going to take any form of additional damage, which means his damage is not that great, especially early on. So usually use him just to get the benefit of this huge attack range, so he can get like, I don't know, if you hit the DPS lane of the enemy and you get like 3 lines, if you kill 3 units, that's like a win condition on its own. It's really great. But you usually early on only use him for that, but later on as enemies die, he gets like huge bonuses from this skill over here. So what ends up happening is that he hits like an absolute truck. It's really strong even without the additional damage. So he's a great choice. If you have like in rank, you can definitely upgrade her for Hanyu, or even if you don't have a rank, you don't have to upgrade necessarily. If you're looking for a warrior, Hanyu is a very good option. He's still relevant in Korea right now, so I would recommend him. Though of course there are a lot of good attack units, so you could like wait and go for someone else, maybe Anastasia. Maybe you already have Valje and don't really need something else. You can go Foxy. They have multiple options, so he's not like a must-have unit. It's completely up to you. Now, and he's like pretty much only used for arena, by the way. Now, the other unit was translated to Kailin, right? She's right over... Oh, where is she? Okay, she's over here. Her main usage is a bit awkward because she's not that good for arena. She can kind of work for PvE. I've seen her like similar to Azeew, because she deals damage based on the enemy HP when she tanks while taunting, which is pretty interesting. So she can work kind of Azeew for PvE. But in general, you're not going to be investing in her just because of that, right? So for PvP, she's a bit awkward, right? Because her kit doesn't work perfectly well. She is interesting, like she has 12 turns of taunt, that's amazing. I really like it because of that. But the kit itself doesn't work that well. She tries to trade with units using this skill over here and tries to tank with her defensive skills, but she doesn't tank that well. She gets one shot very often. And if you want to go for defense, to cap 100% defense with this skill over here, even though it's only 4 turns, means you don't get that much crit, which means this skill over here is not going to do enough damage. And if you go crit, I mean, she's not going to get the 100% defense, it's not going to tank well, it's going to die very easily. So what ends up happening is that it's not really consistent to like use the fixed damage amount, 120% enemy max HP fixed damage, because not necessarily you're gonna have enough mark units for this to work. So it's very inconsistent. She's interesting, she has kind of her own unique mechanic, she debuffs warriors, she has everything. It's a very interesting kit, and she tanks really well with this skill over here. But in general, she doesn't work that well. She's a very niche in arena. People don't really use her that much. There are better options for taunters, so I wouldn't recommend going for her in any way. Now, the other unit is a 4-star warrior. She's called Karin, I think, something like that. And well, she's absolutely terrible. The thing is, she is interesting because she has this skill over here. This skill over here actually ignores damage reduction, which is cool, I guess, but in general she's still really bad for PvP. But the thing with ignoring damage reduction is that it works really well against the world boss Axstar. But very briefly, I'm gonna mention that you stack a lot of skills, like for example, let me look at like Zaka or something. Where is he? Over here. So this skill over here, oopsie, that increases the damage the unit takes. So you can run a lot of units with this. They will debuff Axstar with this. Like it stacks multiplicatively, so it's like a lot of extra damage. And in the end you can reach like millions and millions of damage by just using a lot of units that have this kind of skill. But Axstar himself has a skill that kind of, it's a weird math behind it. Like it doesn't work exactly. it's awkward. It's worded really poorly. But what's happening is that because I've had that buff, these types of skills that just don't work. They're not gonna have, like actually get the bonus damage. If you just run a unit that has this and then attack, it's not gonna increase your damage, except for units that have that ignore damage reduction type of skills. Like that's very awkward to say, but so these kinds of units that have this kind of skill can ignore that, and then those units that increase the damage are actually going to increase the damage, and then you can multiply it by various amounts and then reach millions and millions of damage, do a lot of damage to Axstar. And oh, she has that. There are very few units that do. You have like Eldora, which was the MVP for that for quite a while, and then recently we got Valja and Mamoni that also do that. But other than those three, Karin is the only option you have. So if you don't have any of those three, and you don't want to get an Eldora, or you don't have Valja, you don't want to invest in Mammoth in any way, she is a budget option for that. She's not going to work as well as the other three, sorry, but she's still going to work, and she's kind of interesting because of that. But in general, the other three are better, and she's terrible for everything else. So now, of course, let's move on to the banner review. So we got 2 new banners. Of course, the Yuri and Walia one is still going on. I'm not going to be covering it in this video because I already covered it before, and I'm going to be linking to that as well. So the 2 other banners are Hanyu Kailin and Se Bathory. Starting with Hanyu Kailin, of course Hanyu is a great unit as I mentioned, but I can expect most of you, no, not most, but a few of you are not going to be interested in him because you already have decent attacker units that you're already like investing, or you have other plans for the future, maybe Anastasia, maybe something else, I don't know. But if you're looking for an attacker, you can definitely consider Hanyu. And of course you have Kailin, which is kind of a drawback for this banner to be honest, but it's still interesting. She is not unusable, she's just middle tier, so you can run her in PvE of course, so it's kind of okay. And the 4 stars are really good. You have Karin in case you don't have like Eldora and you kind of need her and her skill ups, because she needs skill ups for world boss to get the extra damage, so you could be interested in that maybe. You have Ceres. Ceres is a great 4 star. She's the best 4 star supporting in fact, so you definitely want to plus her, so that's really good. And you have Hell over here, which I would say is absurdly great, but really everyone has Hell +9 at this point, so I suspect that you're not going to be needing more of her. But if you still haven't +9 her, it's definitely a great unit for this banner. So in general, it's a pretty interesting banner. They have like 2 great 5-star units, but Hanyu is great and Kailin is middle tier with good 4 stars. It's an interesting banner, you can definitely consider it. And the last one is Se Bathory. Se, of course, is really great, though I want to mention that she's preached as like the best unit in the game, and that's not necessarily true. Of course, she's great for re-rolling, but now the rolling process is kind of gone. You're already like have your account established, so she's not gonna help you that much. You probably already have a Hell that has cleared lots of PvE, so you don't necessarily need Se right now. Only really pull for her if you want her for arena and that kind of thing, or if you're kind of new, you started your account very recently, so that will be interesting. But in general, just consider her like as a solid unit, not the must-have absurdly goddess Se. And Bathory is like really bad. I think she's really bad. I wouldn't recommend her. And then for the 4 stars we have Orion, which is a world boss unit and only world boss, doesn't have any other uses, so that could be interesting, why not, but not great. And Vincent is really bad, I hate him, I don't recommend him in any possible way. And Grossa was for a while a really good unit for Novice Arena, but nowadays with Hell and everything, she's not, he, I don't know, it's a cow. It's not working too well right now, so not great. In general, I don't love this last banner over here. I wouldn't recommend it. I think the best banner is Hanyu Kailin. but you can definitely consider if you would like mileage there in the future, you can consider pulling in this banner instead, or of course you could mileage her. It's probably a better option because this banner in general isn't as good, but it's up to you. And I mean, the Yuri Walia banner is still there, but I think I prefer the Hanya Kylie in general, because Walia is not a great option early on, as I mentioned, while Hanya is. Like, a good attacker does work early on. Getting the 3rd tile is like amazing. So, and the banner in general is better, right? Kylie is way better than Yuri, and the 4 stars are way better than these. So I definitely recommend, I think the middle banner is the best one, but that doesn't mean, of course, you should be pulling that. You should consider all your team, what you're kind of looking for, what you're missing, and take the decision for yourself. But yeah, it's a solid banner, I like it. And well, that's pretty much it. Thank you, and I'll see you guys.